Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Google MF Michael Fletcher, alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the arrival of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If we don't, then I guess we'll see him on Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. Guys, I know you've been waiting for it. I know you've been dying for our thoughts on the Saturday night's main event. However, we're going to go rapid fire. We got a couple of things that we need to get through first before we get to the Saturday night's main event from Uniondale, Long Island, New York, on NBC nationwide, this event. So we're going to get into it in just a matter of moments. And all right, let's do it. And it started it off with NXT. We're going to start out with NXT first, as we normally would do. And then we're going to go to SmackDown. And, of course, we will finish it with the long-awaited recap of the Saturday night main event. So with that said, we start out with SmackDown. Plus, also, guys, I just got breaking news minutes ago that happened after the Saturday night's main event went off the air. I'm going to have to get into that a little bit later on when we do the recap. You are not going to believe what just happened. It happened in Uniondale, Long Island. The fans got to see it. No cameras were rolling, so WWE cameras were not rolling when this happened. But we will get into it in just a matter of a little bit of time. First, the first fight of the night that we had, because we had a lot of promo stuff to start out the show. We did start out with Javon Evans versus Wes Lee one-on-one. Javon Evans winning the match in roughly 12 minutes. This is a 3-star bout. 3 to 3.25 stars. Solid opener. Great matchup. Great ring psychology, great story, and of course, with the big win by Javon Evans. Really nothing more to add, Anthony. This came off of both men having an impressive performance in the Iron Survivor match, and Javon Evans comes away with a big victory over Wes Lee.
Well, I'll tell you, MF, you're absolutely right. Just bear with me for 1 second here. Okay. Yep. I just want to make sure I had the right stuff here. Well, I'll tell you, MF. Little ode to our special guest later on from the main event. At this point, it's hard to take Wes Lee seriously as a threat to the rising Javon Evans. This is a problem because Lee had so much momentum after his heel turn on the Rascals. Instead of thriving, I hate to say it, he's become an afterthought. It is likely only a main roster call-up will get Lee fully back to where he should be. The match itself was strong despite not hitting the lofty heights expected of two of NXT's most exciting performers. They could have picked up the pace more down the stretch. 12 minutes or so, you said?
Yep.
I'll give it about 3.25, 3.5 for the effort. So not much more to say. MF, let's move on to the next match. And if there's any cutouts, I urge you to bypass them.
All right. Well, we have Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. They went up against Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe. Walker and Ledger winning in 6 minutes and 20 seconds.
That's about 2.5, roughly. The future of the NXT tag team division is focused on Hank and Tank. The powerhouses have come a long way and constantly keep the energy high in their matches. This was solid, but clearly showed why Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe are only starting to get television time. They were slower and fairly basic on offense. The wrinkle of Igwe leaning heel while DuPont remains face is interesting. It gives them a real chance to tell their first story in NXT that could get them over. So that's really all I can say on that. Solid 2.5 stars. So MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, 2.5 stars. Solid match. I thought they did an okay job there. Really nothing more to add. Now we got is Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley versus JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. And it was Fatal Influence winning the match in 3 minutes. This is automatic cutout. We're going to bypass this one. Then we had Tony D'Angelo versus Ethan Page for the North American title. And it was Tony D'Angelo winning the match in 8 minutes and 40 seconds. I think this is a solid fight. This was a really good matchup, to say the very least. I would say by default, this was maybe, I could say, I'm not going to call it fight of the night. I think it was a fine matchup for what it was worth. I would probably say this is about 2.5, 2 3/4, Anthony.
2.5, 2 3/4. This wasn't a match that, this wasn't about these two could have at their best, but Ethan Page especially sold the story of his broken confidence well enough to make up for shortcomings in the action. The Don got a nice win against a decorated opponent to further solidify his run as North American champion. It is a bit far-fetched to feel sorry for All Ego after how much success he has had in a short time in NXT, but Ethan Page is a good enough actor to make it make sense. And whatever All Ego does next, it should be interesting as he is clearly invested in making every week count. So I'm with you, 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. Let's move on.
Main event for this NXT show, it was Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade going up against Kalani Jordan and Julia. And it was Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade winning the match 10 minutes and 50 seconds. But of note, Cora Jade pinned Kalani Jordan. Basically, Julia and Roxanne Perez, they brawled all the way to the back. That led Cora and Kalani in a one-on-one situation. Cora wins the match, but it was short-lived because Stephanie Valcour showed up because Valcour was looking for an inch of blood, a pint of a payback because Cora Jade laid out Stephanie Valcour earlier in the night. And yeah, let's just say she was looking for a pound of flesh. She found it. Florio, it's yours.
Another 3 1/4, 3.5. This was a solid main event that hinted at much greater to come when Roxanne Perez and Julia lock horns again at New Year's Eve next month. The sample of that bout was the best part of this match. Kalani Jordan and Cora Jade played their roles well, and a win for the latter in the main event was much needed to build her credibility for a bout against Stephanie Valcour. Which I wouldn't be surprised if they saved that for New Year's Eve. I wouldn't be surprised if they add that to that card. For the moment, the battle lines are being drawn simply, but there is still a chance Jordan could be turning heel down the stretch. This was a frustrating end to her night when she was abandoned by her own partner. So this was a solid 3 1/4, 3.5. MF, your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, 3 1/4, 3.5. Absolutely, no doubt about it. I thought they did a really good job with it. Yes, I think they're continuing that leadway into the heel turn. No doubt about it. I definitely believe that's definitely seeming like it's going to be down the line. Solid main event, good matchup. Overall, it was an all right show. I think this was at least a 7 out of 10. I think NXT still needs to find their way a little bit. I did love something that needs to be addressed. Eddie Thorpe swerved everybody. We all thought it was a bloodline. We all thought it was Daddy Rock because of what happened with Ava. No, he did it himself. He self-destructed himself by basically pulling himself out of the match and by default using the sympathy of Ava to get an NXT title fight, jumping the line, and getting the match against Trick Williams next week on NXT. A brilliant move by Eddie Thorpe. Oh, absolutely brilliant. It was a masterclass. It was absolutely cinema, as you would say, Anthony Florio. And this was everything but. So absolutely, Eddie Thorpe gets to face off with Trick Williams this upcoming Tuesday night with the NXT title on the line. 7 out of 10.
Lower mask, get ready. That's this Tuesday
Lowell,
night in Lowell, Mass.
Yes, Lowell, Massachusetts. Yep.
The Veteran Auditorium down there. Yeah. So 7 out of 10 as well. Deadline created 2 exciting new title challengers, and Tuesday's NXT took advantage. Tuesday's show was built on Julia's rising star, as well as teasing the threat Obafemi poses to Trick Williams. As MF mentioned, and I agree, Eddie Thorpe played his role well and could find himself becoming a permanent fixture on the show if his match with Trick on Tuesday night is an exciting one. Fatal Influence faced a united front of fan favorites. All Ego Ethan Page lost his smile. Javon Evans continued to build his legacy as a future megastar. The action on the night was solid rather than outstanding, but many of the competitors were competing after travel and long premium live event matches. This was never going to be a night that rivaled Deadline in terms of in-ring spectacle, but it did its job well in furthering the key angles across NXT. So a solid 7 out of 10 for me as well. So with that, MF, we move on to last night's edition of Friday Night Smackdown from one of the WWE mainstays of yesteryear.
Yes, indeed. It was the XL Center, formerly the Hartford Civic Center, Hartford, Connecticut. And it was on USA, like we said. And yeah, we talk about how there's certain areas in the country that is WWE mainstays. Hartford, Providence, Boston, New York. That was the breathing ground for WWF, World Wrestling Federation. That was their territory. That was where every month, once a month, every week, they were doing 4 shows a week. And it was 1 week in Madison Square Garden, 1 week in Hartford, Connecticut, 1 week in Providence, Rhode Island at the Providence Civic Center, and 1 week at the old school Boston Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. That was World Wrestling Federation territory.
There were 2 others. There were also 2 others, MF. The Spectrum in Philadelphia.
Yup, Core State
and
Spectrum.
The Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto.
And all right, I guess you can say that because I kind of feel like that's more Stampede Wrestling, but you know what? You're right. Because of the fact that Stampede Wrestling was more Edmonton, Calgary, more into Alberta's, where exactly. This one was kind of, I would say Toronto, Ontario. Yeah, Maple Leaf Garden. I'll give you that. And
the old Spectrum in Philadelphia, too.
And the Core State Spectrum in Philadelphia. Yes, absolutely. So that's the 6. That's the Golden 6. So anytime they did the show there, it was always awesome. All right, so XL Center, Hartford Civic Center, SmackDown Live. Let's dive in. So we start out with semifinal number 1 of the women's U.S. title tournament. Mia Yim going up against Tiffany Stratton. And it was Mia Yim going to the finals. She goes to Uniondale, Long Island. She wins the match in 8 minutes and 31 seconds. Solid opener. It was an all right match, about maybe 2.5 stars. It was sloppy in certain areas, but the ending, you could say, was a little bit of an eyebrow raise because I know a lot of people love Tiffany Stratton. They love the thing here. But trust me, when you see the result of the other match, it actually does make sense. So 2.5 stars, Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, 2.5, 2 3/4. This match started off with a couple of sloppy moments, but the more they worked, the more they started to click. By the time the break was over, they were giving us a good match. Michin barely avoided Tiffy's moonsault before hitting Eat Defeat for the win, and Michin will now await the winner of the other semifinal matchup between Bayley and Chelsea Green and those 2 women will battle it out tonight on Saturday night's main event for that inaugural Women's United States Championship. So there is one thing that I do need to address from this match. Michin did not fully avoid the moonsault. So Michael Cole called it as a finisher that connected before correcting himself. And it definitely made the final few seconds a little awkward. But other than that, 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. A little bit of a surprising outcome, but at the exact same time, Triple H's WWE is all about building new stars and giving more opportunities. So definitely kudos to them. I mean, honestly, I thought Tiffany was going to go over here, but no, they gave it to Mi Chin, and well done. There's someone who's been underutilized, and I'm glad they decided to give her a big stage, the big stage of Saturday night's main event. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but 2.5, 2 3/4. So MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, 2.5, 2 3/4. I think you're absolutely right. I think they did a solid match, like I said, and now we're just gonna move right on along. We do have a cutout. Carmelo Hayes was supposed to be going up against a star that was selected by Nick Aldis. It was Braun Strowman. Roar! Strowman destroys Carmelo in 1:33. Nothing more to add there. We move right on along. LA Knight going one-on-one with Solo Sikoa. The fight gets thrown out. No contest. 10 minutes, 47 seconds. The bloodline gets involved. Anthony Florio, the immortal words of what could have been, what might have been, the fight gets thrown out in 10:47. But damn, this was turning into a pretty damn good fight.
Yeah, 3 to 3 1/4. The majority of this match was solid, but the ending felt like a lazy booking decision. Apollo Crews and Andrade attempted to help, but were taken out by Solo and his crew. And during the match, LA Knight certainly got in some offense. It felt like Solo was controlling the pace more often than not, which made sense, especially in this situation. And this match came about because of LA Knight getting attacked by the New Bloodline last week, but to no avail. And LA Knight mispronounced Ula Fala during his backstage interview, and it was hard to tell if he did it on purpose as a joke or if he just said it wrong by mistake. I think it was on purpose as a joke myself.
I think I would go with the latter. I think he just basically mocked it.
Ufa Lafa. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. No, I think it was definitely. I definitely think he was mocking it. He was definitely mocking the Ula Fala. Definitely, that was a definite shot, direct shot.
Awesome, but
yep.
3 to 3 1/4. That's the best I can give it. So so not much more. Did you give your thoughts, MF? Or
there's really not much to talk about. It was like I said, It was a fine match. The fight gets thrown out. I think it served its purpose. That was exactly what it needed it to be. Obviously, the Bloodline's making more enemies than friends. But I will say this, guys. Batten down the hatches. January 6th, 2025. Intuit Dome, Los Angeles, California. Nope, nay, regret. Inglewood, California. Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Tribal Combat, Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Do I need to say anything more?
WrestleMania main event right there.
That is, and this is high stakes. The Ula Fala, the status as tribal chief on the line in that fight. Anything goes. All right. So with that said, there was only one match left on this fight card, and it was the other semifinal match, Chelsea Green versus Bayley. Chelsea Green wins 11 minutes, 55 seconds. She goes to the final. She goes to Saturday night's main event to face off Mi Chin to possibly become the undisputed Women's United States Champion. Anthony Florio, it is all yours. Give me your thoughts.
All right. 3 1/4 to 3.5. but I do have to throw in some constructive criticism. While they had some good moments, there were sections of this match when it felt like all of the chemistry these two had went out the window. It's difficult to describe, but it seemed like it was either a communication issue or one of them was working through an injury and it affected their performance. It was only noticeable because other parts of the match looked great. Bayley narrowly avoided a countout, but she was not able to avoid the unpretty her. Chelsea scored the win and advanced to the finals to face Michin for the women's U.S. title as part of Saturday night's main event. And it took a minute for them to find their groove. The crowd sounded very strange after the break. It was like the mics WWE used to pick up crowd noise stopped working. And having a random ad in the middle of a match that is not part of a commercial break is a trend that needs to end. So, but other than that, 3 1/4, 3.5, it is the fight of the night, but not without constructive criticism, MF. So, your thoughts?
Fair enough. I think it definitely warrants some constructive criticism. I think they did a fine job. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't amazing. But I think they really did a good job with it. So, yeah, 3 1/4, 3.5. There was a promo segment. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. Kind of final build for Saturday night's main event. Overall review, this was kind of similar. 7 out of 10. I think it really didn't, there wasn't really anything that was remotely spectacular. Yes, they did build on the semifinals. You did get some build on Braun Strowman, now on SmackDown. There was a sidebar thing as now Naomi has stepped up. She is teaming with Bianca Belair, and now they will be the women's tag team champions while Jade Cargill is out with an injury. So interesting twist on that. And then obviously now we got possibly, and on top of that, we also got a women's tag team title fight next week, guys, because after what happened with that match, Candice LeRae was actually able to talk to Nick Aldis, and it's going to be Candice LeRae and Nia Jax going after Bianca Belair and Naomi for the women's tag team titles. Kind of basically Candice's way of sticking it to Tiffany Stratton, just putting the dagger in a little more deeper off the heels of losing the match, and then trying to kind of steal the spotlight, as they say. So I don't know, we'll see. And then obviously the build up for Cody and Owens for Saturday night main event. We got to sell some fireworks going into that. So, yeah, a 7 out of 10. Nothing more to say. Anthony Foyle, give me your thoughts, and then we're going to get into why everybody's here tonight.
The final segment on last night's show was the face-to-face showdown between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes before they battle over the title on Saturday night's main event. Well, it was supposed to be that way, but KO ended up speaking from his car instead. He said Cody Rhodes was more interesting as Stardust to get under his skin. The champ went backstage to find KO, but Owens found him first and jumped him from behind. The show ended with the prize fighter standing tall after he took down Rhodes. This week's SmackDown was heavy on storyline and feud advancement, but the in-ring action didn't exactly light the world on fire. Carmelo Hayes and Braun Strowman's squash match was too short to be anything special, and both of the matches in the women's U.S. title tournament left a little to be desired. Solo Sikoa and LA Knight put on the strongest performance of the night, but their match ended in a disqualification, so even that was less than ideal. Some weeks are going to be strong and some won't. This just happened to be the latter, but it did a good job setting up some matches for Saturday night's main event and the first Raw on Netflix. 7 out of 10. It's main event time.
It is indeed. It's time for the Saturday night's main event. Uniondale, Long Island, New York, at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. This was, as they've been talking about it, live nationwide on NBC and streaming exclusively on Peacock as well. This is actually being written. There was a dark match before the Saturday night's main event got going. It was Motor City Machine Guns versus A-Town Down Under. Motor City Machine Guns winning in 8 minutes. But when we did get into it, we started it off the night with Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn one-on-one. Winner of the bout in 10 minutes and 5 seconds was Drew McIntyre. Solid opener. The crowd was electric, obviously, with everything that was harking about the Saturday night's main event. The classic moments, the feel of it. You had the traditional WWE ring ropes. You had the special WWE old school lettering on the turnbuckle pads. It gave us that feel, but there was a little bit of new school. There was the pyro. You had the lights going all over the arena. No lasers though, so you still had the theatrical WWE elements of today, but there were a little bit of the callbacks from yesteryear, from the music to the style of it, the way that the wrestlers were coming out with the guardrails coming out to the ring, the Gestapo security guards walking behind the stars, bringing them to the ring. It kind of had that feel of like the little nostalgia of the 1980s, the 1990 era. It was really good on that aspect, and I think they did an incredible job with it. To have this little special staging with Joe Tessitore and Jesse the Body Ventura. And let me tell you guys, Jesse was on point. It was like he did not lose a step. It took him a minute to get into Jesse mode, but let me tell you, when he got there, he got there. Jesse was the star of the night throughout the evening. He was, without a doubt, a star in itself. And then to have Pat McAfee back on TV, first time in a long time. Now you fans on network TV gets to see why Michael Cole and Pat McAfee are indeed the modern day Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body Ventura of our era. So if you didn't remember what Gorilla and Jesse was back then, now you got to see our modern day crew of Pat McAfee and Michael Cole working together. And get ready, Netflix, because this is what you're going to see on January 6th. So nothing more to say. Good opener, 3-star bout. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
What was the time again?
10:06.
Yes. Definitely a very good solid 3 to 3.25 for this. Did what it was supposed to do. Set the tone. Let me see. Great way to kick off the show in that it featured 2 tried and true workers, a red-hot crowd that cared about both men, and a high-profile story at the center of it. Flawless start to the show. The throwback nature of the show and the history of the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum helped make for an unmistakable aura. Kudos to the production team for giving this as much of a vintage feel as possible while not abandoning the many upgrades the industry has undergone in its presentation. Jesse Ventura took a shot at Dusty Rhodes. Many abs, drawing boos from the fans. He still got it. You mentioned it. And McIntyre hurled Sami Zayn over the announce table and into the guardrail ahead of the first commercial break. So, yeah, easily 3 to 3.25 stars. Solid way to start. And now, from here on in, championship matches the rest of the way. So, let's get into the first one.
It was the women's world title on the line. The champion, Liv Morgan, going up against Io Sky, winner of the bout, 9 minutes and 5 seconds, and still the women's world champion, Liv Morgan, she won this clean. Oblivion for the 1, 2, 3. There's no argument on this one, Anthony Florio. She successfully defends the title and did it, I guess you could say, in the immortal words of Gorilla Monsoon, she did it in spectacular fashion.
Grand style, absolutely. The match was good, but never reached the next level thanks to a few messy spots late, mostly contributed to what appeared to be time constraints. Liv Morgan winning was the right call, no matter how great Io Sky has been, as the money is in the inevitable showdown between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, which will finally see the former regain the title she never lost. And Liv's celebration was short-lived. Rhea Ripley interrupted, came face-to-face with Liv Morgan, a not-so-subtle reminder that the Eradicator was coming for her title. And the heat for Liv Morgan was next level. So I think we know what's the next step here. I gotta say, Raw on Netflix. It's got to be January the 6th, Intuit Dome, LA. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Women's World Championship, and I think that's the night where Rhea gets the title back. So
yeah,
solid 3 for the effort. So MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'll give solid 3. I think they did a fine job. I think it was a good match, and yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think they did everything that they needed to do, so there really nothing more to add there. Next up we had was the World Heavyweight title on the line. Gunther versus Damian Priest versus Finn Balor in a triple threat. Gunther wins the match in 11 minutes and 5 seconds. Solid television match. This was a solid fight. Very good storyline. Everything looked really good from beginning to end. The crowd was into this all the way to the end. I thought they did a real good job with it. Nothing more to say. And yeah, I would say about 3.5 stars. I think that they did a really good job with this championship match. Gunther successfully defending the title. Not big of a surprise here, but there was rumors about maybe one of these titles changing hands, and everybody was pointing at this belt maybe being the one to be the title that could get sacrificed. It did not. That title does not change hands. Winner and still champion, the Ring General Gunther. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
The action was nonstop with seamless transitions from one spot to another, all making sense within the context of the overarching story. On more than one occasion, Priest and Balor cost each other the bout. Ultimately, their obsession with preventing the other from winning kept Gunther alive long enough to deliver a powerbomb to Damian Priest on the ring steps, and another to Finn Balor back inside the squared circle for the pinfall win. Hopefully, this puts an end to Priest and Balor's spot in the world title hunt for now, and allows Gunther to move on to something fresh. There are any number of top-tier stars for the champion to work with, and for the sake of his title reign, he must. Soon. Priest and Balor are great, but things feel a little stagnant in that particular feud, and that isn't anywhere Gunther needs to be right now. Still, this was an excellent match that the crowd was into, and the right guy won. So, I will give this in excess of 3.25, 3.5 stars. Excellent match, and there isn't anything else left to say except MF. Let's make some more history in that women's division, shall we?
Yes, we do, and we're going to make it right now. This was the match. Meechin versus Chelsea Green, the tournament final to crown the first ever Women's United States champion. Winner of the bout, 8 minutes and 5 seconds. And the inaugural Women's United States champion, Chelsea Green. She wins the championship. Anthony Florio, history was made. Unprecedented crowning. Chelsea Green. How about that? From the hot mess of Laurel Van Ness from the days of TNA to now being the first ever inaugural Women's U.S. champion.
And what was the time of the fall again?
8:05.
2.5, 2 3/4. Well, more like 2.5, really. This, like the women's title match earlier in the show, suffered from a more rushed nature, but may have been better. The chemistry was obvious, the crowd was hot for Green, and the finish was executed well, leading to the crowd-pleasing moment that saw Chelsea heel win the title. Given the interaction between Meechin and Piper Niven, this is likely just the start of the rivalry between those two. How far it goes and whether the former finally wins the title down the line remains to be seen. And Michael Cole noted that Chelsea Green made her TNA wrestling debut losing to Michin. The best in the business, folks. A great recall that adds to the moment. Let's Go Chelsea chants broke out. They and every ounce of support for the character from the WWE fans is a testament to her ability to take a seemingly ridiculous persona and make the most of it. Well done. Biggest win of her career, no question about it. And well-deserved, like her or not. So 2.5 stars. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, no doubt about it. 2.5 stars. Solid matchup. History-making moment is all we can say. And the right person won, in my opinion. I think they did a very good job with it. Solid matchup. And now it takes us to the main event of the evening. Yes, this is the moment. Cody Rhodes bringing back the Winged Eagle World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Championship back to the Saturday night's main event. Yes, it's one night only, but my God, what a moment it was. He goes up against Kevin Owens, and when it was all said and done, the winner of the bout in 12 minutes even, and still the WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. Solid main event, solid matchup, 3 to 3.5 star bout. The body of work was fine. Couple of ref bumps gave us a little bit of that 1980s, 1990s feel where, yes, it was a little more overbooked than usual, but the right man won. But in Jesse form, he talked about it, how Cody used the chair as an illegal weapon. He gave Ventura all the ammunition to open fire on Cody Rhodes. And sure enough, he did not hesitate and pulled the trigger on him. And guess what? This would be like me and Anthony Florio. This is how we are in real life. Me being the Jesse, me being the Gorilla, Vince McMahon, Florio would have been all over this. He talked about the chair being in the ring, calling it a tainted victory. Well, I'll get into some breaking news in just a matter of minutes because we'll get into that in a little bit. But oh my goodness, what a matchup. What a way to close it. Anthony Florio, 3 to 3.5 stars. Jesse the Body Ventura joined Pat McAfee and Michael Cole on commentary. And what we got with this main event was absolute cinema and absolute, like, this was why we were all excited for the Saturday night's main event, because that match alone made the whole night worth it for me.
Absolutely. Positively. 3.5 stars. The match was great as to be expected, but the finish was a bit odd. Perhaps it was intended to further the narrative that, quote-unquote, Kevin is right. But it came across like Cody Rhodes cheating to win the match. First-time viewers who did not know any better might even believe Rhodes was the heel in this story, based on the fact that it was actually him who cheated his way to victory. The question will be how the finish is followed up on. Kevin Owens is going to trumpet his version of things, which is that Cody Rhodes is the cheater and schemer, not him. He is going to demand a rematch and maybe get it at the Royal Rumble. Will he ever actually win, though, is the question. The Winged Eagle version of the WWE Championship is far too beautiful to put back in a vault somewhere. A flawless design from the late, great Reggie Parks. Yes, I marked the F out when I saw it. You knew I would.
We all did. Trust me, the minute I saw the belt, it took me a minute to see it, but the minute I saw the belt, there was a big underlying smile on my face, and I'm just like, I just cannot believe they actually did it. Holy crap, they did it. They brought it back. They brought it back.
Yes, they did. Jesse the Body Ventura thrived on commentary. There are some who are just born to be a color commentator, and the Body is one of them. And he surprisingly meshed very well with Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. Ventura planted the seeds of the Rhodes match against Chad Gable and the ankle injury from it, playing a role in the bout. It came to fruition when the American Nightmare completed a tope suicida but came up holding that same ankle. Kevin Owens mocked Cody Rhodes' father, the late Dusty Rhodes, and earned him a bionic elbow from the champ. Rhodes delivered Cody Rhodes with an RKO to Kevin Owens on the announce table. I know that had to have drawn a little bit of a Cheshire cat grin from MF on that. Because Randy Orton, that's his boy.
Yep.
So
it did.
Playing off of their legacy. So playing off the legacy days, obviously. So right around the 3.25, 3.5 threshold. So not much more to say. Overall review, yes.
Well, no.
Actually, there is. Oh yeah, you have breaking news. That's right.
So all right. So after the show went off the air, as many of you guys know, so Cody was still having a moment to celebrate and everything else. He goes up the rampway, and KO jumps Cody at the rampway at the top of the where they were coming out, and KO drops a package pile driver on Cody Rhodes on the concrete floor. Triple H storms out of Gorilla, gets into Owens' face, and pushes Kevin Owens. He pushed him and told him to get the hell out of the arena. Medical personnel does come out. They put Cody on a stretcher, and Cody is now heading to a medical facility in New York as we speak right now. This was, again, away from cameras. Nobody knows about this. However, the fans in the arena has found out, or they were the ones, and it exploded on the internet. They showed the footage of the package pile driver. They showed Triple H physically putting his hands on Kevin Owens. That might lead to trouble for Triple H. That might lead to trouble for Hunter. We'll see. But if they want to play that narrative, that might lead to Triple H into some trouble, because he now put hands on a wrestler for his actions by pushing Kevin Owens. The last time Triple H did that, remember Pat McAfee, the infamous kick at NXT, and he put his hands on Pat McAfee? So we'll see. But Anthony Florio, give us a quick thought. I mean, everything seemed fine, and then boom, Owens package pile drives Cody Rhodes, and Triple H comes out of Gorilla and pushes Owens.
News to me, first of all, and very, very interesting development here. And I mean, it all started when Cody, after the show went off the air, he cut a promo to thank the fans, and that's when KO struck, and then KO did the damage, and he took the Winged Eagle belt that Cody wore to the ring and carried it to the locker room, and then that's when he had the confrontation with Triple H. And man, you want to talk about a red hot, another. This is just like Bad Blood here. I mean, we all remember at Bad Blood the incident with KO and Cody outside of Cody's tour bus, and that didn't make it to air. This doesn't make it to air either. Obviously, because it's network television, time constraints, and the whole 9 yards. I get it, but I got to tell you, this Triple H creative regime is doing things that the old regime not only never did, but never even thought about doing. I mean, you wonder why Triple H is the best booker in professional wrestling today. And for him and his team to come up with this, another hot off-air angle that further adds fuel to this fire, A rematch is imminent. I mean, I'm starting to think because of how they want to really make that first Raw on Netflix basically a damn near pay-per-view, why not add this to it? That could happen. I really don't see them holding it until the Rumble. That's a ways away. I don't see that at all. That's 7 weeks. They're not going to wait 7 weeks for this.
This one's about half the time because I believe the Netflix one is what, in 3 weeks? About 3 weeks or so?
What, the Raw on Netflix?
Yeah. January 6th, I believe it's 3 weeks from now.
Yes.
Yeah, 3 weeks from now. So that would be literally half the time. Because like you said, Royal Rumble is literally what, the first of February.
That's right.
So if you're gonna do that like you said, that's 7 weeks off. There's no way you're gonna be able to hold it off till then. If you're gonna do it, do it then. Do it on Netflix 3 weeks from now. Intuit Dome, Los Angeles, California. I mean, that was a sickening, disgusting display by Kevin Owens. That package pile driver was a devastating move, and if it would have been live, oh my God, I would have gone full gorilla on that. Oh my God.
What would Jesse have done?
Probably laughed and said, served him right for cheating in the match. And I know for me, I would have been like, that was a despicable display by Kevin Owens. That should be, and he did the package pile driver. It's one thing to do the regular pile driver, but the package pile driver? Oof. Really? Oh no. No. That had full intentions for bad to happen, and it did. Poor Cody Rhodes got folded up like an accordion tonight.
He did.
That was, oh man.
I have not seen the video yet, but I will definitely take a look at it.
Oh yeah. Well, all right, Anthony, give us a quick thought. What did you feel about the Saturday night's main event? What's your overall review?
Yeah. I will say, it wasn't, the greatest, but I'll give this in excess of 7.5, teetering on 8 out of 10. More like 7.5, really. WWE's return to primetime was mostly a success. The look and feel of the show was outstanding. It had enough nostalgia to capture the older audience and enough new production to make it stand out. The in-ring work was mostly good, though the timing was adversely affected in some situations by the constraints of working primetime network television. If there was one complaint, it was that there was nothing that happened on this show that did anything monumental enough to convince fans to tune into Raw or SmackDown to witness the fallout. This was a great opportunity to convince new eyes to check out the product, and the lack of a major angle or finish had it feeling like a high-production episode of Raw or SmackDown rather than a can't-miss show. Expect that to change come next month, January 25th, with the next Saturday night's main event. Overall, it was still a fun watch, and more than a bit nostalgic for longtime fans. 7.5 out of 10. Take us home, MF.
7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. Absolutely. I really was bought in on the whole event. It was amazing from beginning to end. I don't think there's really not much for us to say. This was an incredible show, and oh boy, the fireworks exploded on that moment. So there's really nothing more to add, and we'll definitely get into it. Monday night, ridiculously raw. Anthony Florio, the fallout from the Saturday night's main event, and the lead into the road that'll lead us into the Monday Night Raw from the Intuit Dome on Netflix. We'll see. But at the end of the day, yeah, this was incredible. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. For Anthony Florio, I'm Michael Fletcher saying so long, everybody, and we'll see you all on Monday night.
Goodbye.